Okay, so yeah, I wanted to get this out last night, my last video of 2019, but if this is to be my first video of 2020, so be it. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Type McDougal, welcome back to my channel, and this is my official review for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I already did the spoiler-loaded video, and I'll put a link down below, but if you've already seen The Rise of Skywalker, then you already know the spoilers. And if you haven't yet seen The Rise of Skywalker, then don't let any of the negative comments unduly influence your judgment and go see the movie for yourself. Draw your own conclusions. And with all that out of the way, let's review. Now it goes without saying that these new Disney Star Wars films have divided the fan base. Half of us love them for what they are, and the other half hate them for what they're not. For two most likely reasons. One, these stories do not fit your headcanon, and two, because these are not George Lucas's stories. Most of us by now know that George had a very different idea for what would have been his sequel trilogy. But let's acknowledge the fact that Uncle George is getting up there in age. I mean, he's not going to be around forever. But his legacy that is Star Wars will be. So it's inevitable that other film writers and directors in the near future will take up the mantle of responsibility and usher us into a new era of Star Wars.
It is inevitable.
And that's just what directors like J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Gareth Edwards, and Ron Howard have given us. Not to mention talents like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And like the Disney sequel trilogy, these films are not going to be the George Lucas Star Wars that we've all come to either love or hate. But it will be Star Wars. And that's just what The Rise of Skywalker is. For better or for worse, it is very much a Star Wars movie with all the tropes, nostalgia, fan service, and all the lazy dialogue we've come to expect. And the movie is, from start to finish, loaded with action, adventure, humor, touching moments that got me in the feels, grand visual effects, a climactic conclusion, and cameos coming out the wazoo. And that's what J.J. Abrams set out to do. Tie up all sorts of loose ends, answer questions from episodes 7 and 8, and brought the entire saga to a close in an epic way. Now for some there are many loopholes, plot holes, what the fuck moments, and perhaps more questions than answers. And the critics and hardcore fans alike have already spent hours scrutinizing over every single moment in this film, and have posted a number of videos where they quite literally tear this movie apart. But whether the powers that be at Disney had a game plan or not, this is what JJ had in mind and how he wanted to wrap it all up, regardless of what any of us thought of The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. And as far as telling a good Star Wars story, yes, there was a lot that JJ had to deal with in regards to the divisiveness of the last two films, the hate for The Last Jedi, the decisions that were made, and the unfortunate and untimely passing of the late great Carrie Fisher. But we all knew what was coming. We all knew what JJ had in mind when he took back the director's chair. We all knew how they planned to use footage of Carrie from the last two films, and we all knew that Ian McDiarmid was coming back as Palpatine. So why are any of you upset, surprised, disappointed with, or hating on The Rise of Skywalker? If you have seen this movie more than once already, then you know that a lot of the scenes and dialogue actually make sense. It's what you'd expect to hear from some of these characters. And even though some of the lines of dialogue are the same as in other movies, they're used in a slightly different context and take on new meaning. And all the actors, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and Adam Driver, the entire cast, all did an excellent job with their characters given what material they had. They all showed some growth throughout this trilogy, some story arcs, and the whole Reylo thing was touched upon in this film in a way that was expected of these two characters. And Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, is by far the best character in this whole trilogy. Of course we all root for Rey and our heroes, but as a complex and compelling villain, you empathize with Ben Solo and come to third act, you're actually rooting for the guy. And as JJ had planned it, there are plenty of nods and references to many key moments from all previous films, including The Last Jedi, and some of which actually play to the arc of these characters. In my opinion, J.J. Abrams again did an excellent job amidst the challenges he was faced with, and gave us a Star Wars story that, if for nothing else, was a fun ride. And whether we like to admit it or not, it brought the saga to a close. I for one enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker, as did many fans out there. I own all the films, from 1 to 8, and I will happily own The Rise of Skywalker on DVD as well. It's not a perfect film, but it is a Star Wars film. It is the last of the Skywalker saga, and perhaps the last we will see of Star Wars films. At least for a while. I think what Star Wars, Disney, and the fans need right now is a breather. A break. A break from having new Star Wars movies force-fed down our throats. Let the sequel trilogy marinate for a while. Let the dust settle, let the fans come to accept, appreciate, and, dare I say, love the sequel trilogy for what they are. A few years from now, in the not-so-distant future, After all the success and hype of Star Wars on Disney Plus has settled, perhaps then the right people and creative minds will come together to give us an epic new Star Wars adventure. A film that will truly be worthy of the title of Star Wars, and one that the fans will love, not hate. That's my new hope, at least. And to wrap this review up, guys, I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker a Titan rating of 7 out of 10. Again, it's not a perfect film, but it is an entertaining film. A fun adventure that has some touching moments, and ultimately it is the bittersweet ending to a saga that has lasted more than 40 years. This is the end, for now, and there will always be new Star Wars content for us to talk about. With shows like The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, Cassian Andor expected in the new year, we'll have our share of adventures from a galaxy far, far away to entertain us for a while. So what are your thoughts on Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker? Did you like it or hate it? Hey, whatever your thoughts, do share them in the comment box. I'm Ty McDougall, and I do thank you guys for watching. I hope you all had a great and festive holiday this past week, and I do wish you all a happy new year. And be sure to like and subscribe, click on that bell, stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in 2020 on the next Titan Review. May the Force be with you, always. 3, 2, 1. And as JJ had planned it. What?
You can do it!
I can do it! Mind your own business, this is my studio, get out! How's that for a blooper reel? Outtakes, here we go.